Hello, I'm Frankie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And we are
Conbini Cult.
Ooh. So, by request of some of our listeners, we're doing a part 2 of the Halloween stories.
Yay for you! For me.
I love it.
Oh, good.
But thank you to the person who sent in a couple stories for us. And then I found a couple more on the Japanese web that I translated. So that should be exciting.
Yes.
But before we get into that, so my life update kind of has to do with spooky stuff. So do you want to start with yours?
Sure. Mine isn't a horror story in terms of it actually being scary with ghosts. It's more just the horrors of City Hall again, once again.
True horror stories.
There's nothing scarier than getting paperwork done here in Japan. But no,
true.
I'll keep it short. I'm applying for a Japanese passport for my daughter because we plan to visit the US later this year. Got her American one done. It was fine. Japanese one, this is for anyone who plans to have kids or plans to get a Japanese passport. If you have a middle name, just like heads up, that might cause some issues. We could do it. It's fine. But if you, apply for the passport online and fill out the passport application, of course, there's no space to put a middle name. And so you kind of have to, at the place, just tell them I have a middle name. It was just like, you know what I'm talking about if you've lived here long, you know? Yeah, if you have a middle name and then the order you write your middle name depends on like how it's written on your family register. And I don't know why the Osaka City Hall made me write her middle name first and then her first name. So like on all of her documents, it's last name, middle name, first name, which is just, I think the person who helped us with the paperwork that day did it wrong because every time we go anywhere else, they're like, okay, this is the first name and it's not, it's her middle name. And so anyway, if you have a middle name, just be wary. That was my life update. But we finished the application. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. How about you?
2 questions.
Oh, sure.
About how long does it take for the Japanese one? Can it be done online?
The applications are available for download online, so you can prepare everything online. I filled out the application online, but you still have to print it out and go to the passport center.
Okay.
I guess it makes sense because we're in Japan applying for a Japanese passport. You don't need a reservation or anything. It's just a passport center. You go, you turn in your application. Hopefully you have all of the proper documents, which is, your form of identification, a family register to confirm names and addresses and everything, and the application itself with your photo. Whereas in the case if you're, not Japanese and you need to go to your embassy, your country's embassy, that requires advanced reservation and tons of paperwork. Applying for a child's passport, an American passport, while in Japan was just so many more steps compared to the Japanese one.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that it's her first passport.
Yeah.
Like renewals and stuff are probably more simple.
You can do it like via the mail and stuff. The first one, it does take a bunch. But even for her, the Japanese one, because we applied for it yesterday, October 17th, they take about 2 weeks to process. And they said come back on October 30th. So it's fairly quick in Japan.
Faster than I
as
thought.
A Japanese person, you know. But another thing, because I'm not Japanese, we had to make sure my husband could go if you're applying,
because he's the head of household.
He's the head of household and he's the Japanese citizen in this case. Yeah. So I couldn't just take her on my own. So that's another thing to consider if there's anyone out there doing that. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's done though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I talk about my kind of spooky life update, just talking about middle names reminded me of something.
Okay. Yeah.
So my middle name is Marie. So when I put like Mari on, I don't know, going to the doctor or something, because Mari is also a Japanese name.
That's
so
true.
sometimes they see that and they're like, oh, Mari-san. So they call me that. But there was one time I was at the doctor's in Tokyo and there was another patient who was also foreign and her first name was Mari.
Oh.
And she had an appointment for something. So I think I got there before her. So they were like, oh, Mari-san, you're here. And then they take me back and then they start doing this thing like on my back. Like, not like a surgery or something, but they start doing
stuff to you that it
like
was like
chiropractic
you didn't
stuff.
go there.
And I was like, wait a minute. Why am I here? Yeah. Is this right? And they were like, aren't you Mari? And I was like, well, that's my middle name. Oh. and then the real Mari showed up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What if you, like, went under the knife? That's like, have you ever seen Jane the Virgin?
No.
Oh, it's, like, similar but different. But anyway, like, one person went in for a procedure and it was the wrong person. And she ended up, that's how she got pregnant in the end. But can I piggyback off that story before you get into your actual life update?
Okay.
So it was, the main theme of your story is just lumping you guys together, right? Because you both went by Mari and they were thinking, oh, it's the same person or it's you, right? Okay, so the other day I went to a coffee shop and I order first and I order, I don't know, keep it simple, a black coffee and a bagel. And I'm ordering in Japanese because this is Japan. I'm making my order. There is a girl behind me. I don't know if she's a tourist or what, but she's like a foreigner as well. But I make my order, black coffee and a bagel, say thank you. And they say, okay, great, go wait over there because it's to go. I'm waiting. She orders after me and she's ordering, you know, making her order in English, and she orders a cake and a latte. Okay?
Okay.
Keep this in mind.
Like a slice of cake.
A slice of cake and a latte. And she's eating in. And so keep in mind, I don't know this girl. I haven't like looked behind me or anything. She was just standing behind me in line. And I'm waiting kind of forever. And then finally something comes out and they give me, you know, some food in a bag and they say, here you go, here's your cake and your latte. And I was like, what? Oh no, they say, here's your black coffee and your cake. And I said, I got the black coffee. What is this cake? And I said, cake? And they said, cake. And I said, cake? Why? You know? And they said, oh, for your friend. And I said, my friend? And they said, is that not your friend? And I was like, who? Like, what's going on? And we both just looked at each other and she's like, that girl's not your friend? And I was like, I've never seen that girl before in my life. Like, no. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And she just, made the assumption we knew each other because, both foreigners in this coffee shop at the same time, I guess. So I said, no, that's not my cake. And then she had to, fix the orders and everything. So anyway, Mari, gaikokujin. I don't know. It is gaikoku aru aru, I guess.
In
Gaijin
Japan,
aru aru.
we all fam.
We all fam, for real. In Japan, we all fam. So it was just kind of funny how I got, we're both just friends. I made a new friend that day. Against my will, I guess.
Well, you meet people in the most charming ways, you know?
Yeah. It was a meet cute. That was the gaijin meet cute. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, to go back to you. Sorry.
Okay.
Your little scary story?
Kind of.
With personal update? Okay.
So I had a work trip in Nagano this week. And it was in the mountains. It was really nice. I mean, even though it was kind of rainy, the weather was so crispy and cool, and the mountains smelled like pine trees. It was wonderful. But the hotel that we stayed at was really creepy. For one, it looked like the hotel in The Shining. It was like in the mountains.
One of the cabins in the mountains? Okay.
Not a cabin, like a big hotel.
Like an old school,
Yes.
Okay.
With a red roof. With mountains behind it.
Red roof.
Red roof.
Red roof. Okay.
But yeah, the room that they put us in, because sometimes, you know, on the work trips, they want to put you in the nicest rooms in the hotel. So it was like a suite, and it had an upstairs.
Okay.
And I had no idea. When I opened the door, you know, I'm doing my little walkthrough of the room, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this staircase doing here? It looked so creepy because it was very Western style.
Okay.
And then I only went upstairs once just to see what was up there. There was a tatami room and a closet with some futons in it. So I guess if you're a family, this type of room would be nice. So people can stay in the beds downstairs or sleep on the futons upstairs if there's a lot of people. But that staircase just really creeped me out.
Did you get a vibe of something dark is lurking up there?
I did get a vibe. And then on the second night, it was around 11 p.m. I was just on my laptop doing some work before bed. And I hear, because it's in the mountains, remember, so there should be nothing outside. I hear a piercing scream coming from outside. And then, because I took my friend Rosa as my assistant on the job, so she was staying in the room next to me, and I texted her. I was like, are you still awake? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
And she was like, I heard something outside. What was that? And I was like, it was a scream. Did you hear it? And she's like, oh no, I just thought it was thunder.
Oh, so you're hearing two different
sounds, I guess. Yeah. That was it.
That was it. That's it. That's like the biggest.
I didn't see anything.
I just heard that okay? Scream. You know how like some of those hotels that have a dark energy, you can't sleep or you just feel something lurking next to your bed or anything? No?
Well, the bed was right next to the staircase. So, but I sleep with an eye mask. So I put on my eye mask, I put in my earplugs, and I thought, you know what? No. If there's anything here, I'm not looking at it.
You're just
Good night.
Do your thing. I'm in sleep mode now.
Yeah. But actually, I slept really well at that place.
Okay, that's good.
I think because of the cold.
Oh, you were in
air.
your element. Yeah, it was very fall.
I'm not built for the heat.
Yeah, Frankie is not having a good day today, at least this morning getting here. It's still very humid and a little hot considering it's not even mid-October. And we're like almost end of October. My birthday is soon.
Yeah.
I just remembered. Yeah.
October, Scorpio.
Ooh. But yeah, it's
raining so much. It's still humid in Osaka. So yeah, coming back home. I love Kansai, but I was like, I miss that.
Melting.
I miss Nagano already.
Yeah.
I'm tired of sweating. And I get really bad migraines during rainy season and stuff. And why is it raining so much? Anyway.
Yeah. Did Rosa sleep okay on that trip too? It
must have been sleeps fine.
A coincidence or something. Maybe a whistle in the wind or something. Or it was a clear.
That was a clear,
shriek.
piercing shriek. Was it a banshee? I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been a banshee outside. And then, sorry, you only stayed there for one night? So
2 nights.
Oh, and what about the second night? You didn't
That was
hear
the
it?
second night.
Oh, okay. I hope you didn't bring anything home with you. Any spirits? No?
I don't think so. Everything's been fine since I got home, aside from it just being humid and me being irritated about being sweaty. That's spooky.
Yeah, the spookiest of all. Okay. Well, shall we get into it now that we're on the spooky train?
Let's get into these stories. So we have 2 stories that a listener, Jay, sent in. So thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to read her Japan story first, and then a couple of the things that I found on Nichan, on 2chan.
Okay.
And then her other story, because that has to do with something in the Philippines. So I thought that could be like a little bonus at the end.
Okay.
And then just some fun lore about Hello Kitty and this other character, Peko-chan. So,
okay.
Yeah, let's get into it with the first story.
Sounds good. All right. This first story, it looks like it took place in 2020 in Tokyo, right around before the semi-lockdown that was going on from COVID. And it's called The Young Salaryman. I worked for an eikaiwa chain in Ginza. Our school was tiny and we taught in small cubicles for one-on-one classes, but we did have 3 big rooms for group classes. Our reception doubled as the teacher's lounge and printing area. There was only one way in and one way out. I worked afternoons on Mondays, but the first few class hours were usually unbooked. We'd get maybe 1 or 2 students around those slots. We also got a 5-minute break in between classes to go to the washroom or grab books and materials from the teacher's lounge. It was a very quiet Monday. I had my first 2 slots booked. I remember it was just my manager and I on duty that day. Our Japanese staff, reception, hadn't clocked in yet. Most of them are part-timers and show up in the evenings. So there I was, just having finished my first class and was on my way to get another book from the lounge. I was in a hurry because of course I was, and I had to stop for a bit before going in because my manager was also on his way to the lounge, and there was an unfamiliar guy behind the reception area. He was bowing to my manager and gesturing, then went into the lounge holding a large black backpack. I thought he must be new and we would probably be introduced later when everyone comes in. So I went in after them, grabbed what I needed from the shelves, said a quick howdy to my manager, and power walked to my cubicle to wait for the next student. Again, everything went smoothly. Classes were taught, snacks were had. I went home and went back the next day to do the same thing. But something was bothering me in the back of my head. I was feeling weird. So when I was back in the office again the next day, I immediately went looking for my manager. I found him in the lounge, and before he could even say hola, I just went, "There was a guy with us in here yesterday, right?" He just gave me a knowing smile and said, "Oh, so you can see them too?" I was like, "What do you mean I can see them too?" So he told me we did have an extra staff in that campus. He was harmless. Mostly just walks around or sits in one of the rooms, but he does say hi to some people who can see. I also still remember what he looks like. He was young, maybe early 20s. He was wearing cool biz at the time, really nice hair, and he was cute. He didn't give off any negative energy, and I could clearly see him like I saw that kid. Both of them looked like real, solid, living people. Well, with this cute salaryman, though, I couldn't see his feet because he was behind reception, but I did see him walking around a few times while having evening classes. Creepy, but not really scary. And seen.
So you have a sixth sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could see him if I went there.
Oh.
That's a good test.
You should
Can you see the extra staff?
Yeah, can you... You should send them a message and say, where's this
Where is
location?
it? Can I go?
Go to the reception and kind of go undercover and pretend
Yeah.
you're there to like,
Study.
I don't know, apply for a job
Learn
or
English.
study. Yeah. I was gonna say learning English, and I was like, maybe not. So apply for a job.
Interview.
Yeah. At least they had good vibes and not scary vibes or anything, but
That's true. He's harmless.
that is creepy. Ooh. And your workplace too. We never really hear that so much, right? It's always in a room that you sleep in, or if you move to a new apartment or anything. I've never heard it
workplace.
At a workplace, and then your boss being like, "Oh, you can see him too."
We did have the doppelganger story.
Ah, I think that was in the school.
Yeah.
But schools, it kind of makes more sense to me. I don't know. There's just schools are so old in Japan, especially, right? Not in an office. So there's the Eikaiwa ghost lingering around. Huh, interesting. Okay.
Okay, so the next story is from 2chan, Ni-chan. This was posted in 2014. It is called Why Me? Nande ore nandayo. In late February of this year, I stayed at a business hotel in Tokyo on a business trip. The next morning, as I was having breakfast with a colleague at the restaurant on the first floor of the hotel, I saw a police car park in front of the hotel and police officers rushing in. While I was wondering what was going on, the number of police cars increased and even rescue teams arrived. So I said I would go take a look and left my colleague behind, heading out onto the road in front of the hotel. Although it couldn't be seen from the restaurant windows, ambulances and undercover police cars were lined up outside, and many passers-by stopped to look up at the hotel. I was drawn in and took a look, and saw a person hanging from the roof of the hotel with their hands on the ground. They were kicking the outer wall and flapping their feet as if trying to climb up. The hotel was over 10 stories tall. I was shocked and watched for a while, but then I realized that if I continued, I would end up seeing something unpleasant, so I decided to go back to the restaurant. When I sat down, my colleague asked me, "What was that?" And I simply answered, "Someone was hanging from the roof." My colleague seemed surprised, but didn't go outside to see what was going on, and somehow the conversation died down, and the two of us just kept eating together. After about 5 minutes, there was no movement, and I thought maybe they were safe, when I heard a loud bang. I couldn't help but exchange glances with my colleague. "They fell," my colleague muttered, and I nodded and continued eating in silence. After a while, police officers began to put up blue plastic sheets outside the restaurant's windows, but because the windows were so large, the sheets didn't completely cover them, and soon I saw a firefighter passing by the window carrying a stretcher. Even though I didn't want to look, my eyes were naturally drawn to it. I saw a human-shaped mass on a stretcher and covered with a white sheet. Is it because they were dead that their faces covered? It was only a moment, but the whiteness of the sheets remained on my eyelids and made me feel sick. 2 days later, I returned to the office after my business trip, and since it was the weekend, I went to work on Monday for the first time in a while, but my colleague was off work. I said I was feeling unwell, so a girl from my same year group teased me, saying, "Maybe you caught a bad illness in Tokyo, are you okay?" But I was puzzled because I didn't seem particularly unwell during my business trip. After work, I stopped by my colleague's apartment to check in and see how he was doing. I took the elevator to the 7th floor to visit my colleague's room when he greeted me with bags under his eyes and an unusually tired look on his face. "Are you okay? Have you eaten?" When I asked, my colleague laughed slightly. "Yeah, I can't go outside, so I'm just eating the instant food I bought." "Is it that bad? Well, I'll go get you something. What do you want?" When I asked him, my colleague looked like he was laughing and crying at the same time. He was clearly in a bad mental state. "I can't get out. Whether it's the elevator or the stairs, it's there." "What? Who? Are they a debt collector or something?" "That's not it." "Why me? Why?" My colleague immediately burst into tears. Realizing that this was going nowhere, I invited my colleague to go out for dinner, but he was extremely averse to going out. The refrigerator was almost empty and it looked like there was nothing left in stock, so I had no choice but to tell him I was going out to buy some groceries and headed out the front door. As I was waiting for the elevator, wondering whether I should contact my company to let them know about my colleague's condition or tell their parents, an elevator came up from below and passed right in front of me. The elevator had glass doors, so you could see inside from the outside. I could see a short, childlike figure briefly in the elevator as it passed by. The elevator stopped at the top floor, never came down. I got fed up with the elevator not showing any signs of coming down after about 5 minutes, so I decided to take the stairs. It was 7 stories, but the climb wouldn't be too difficult. When I opened the door to the stairs, the air was stagnant and dusty, probably because not many people use the staircase. After walking down for a while, I heard the sound of someone coming up from below. I was a little surprised that some people use the stairs, and as I went down, I passed something coming up. It was about the height of a child. The face was that of a middle-aged woman. A face you could find anywhere, but it was in a different position. Her face was way below where it should have been, around her waist. It felt like someone had pushed her head in with a lot of force. Her arms were slightly open and pointed upwards, swaying back and forth with every step she took. I was so shocked I couldn't even scream. My legs stiffened and I felt like I was having a nightmare. The woman walked up the stairs beside me. I was frozen in place, and the sound of her presence soon faded away. I screamed out loud as if I had been released from paralysis and frantically ran down the stairs and out of the apartment building. I ran to a convenience store and called my colleague in a well-lit area. I was panicking, but my colleague was surprisingly calm. That's the woman who jumped. I shouldn't have looked at the stretcher then. I made eye contact with her as she was being carried away. Her face was crushed and sunken, and her eyes looked really big. There were so many police and firefighters there. Why me? My colleague whined loudly as he said this. After a while, my colleague quit his job and returned to the countryside. He said he felt safe there because his parents' house was a single-story building. What's strange is that my colleague said he saw a woman on the stretcher, but the stretcher was definitely covered with a sheet, so no one could be seen. Since that day, I've tried to avoid using the stairs whenever possible. I'm too scared to use it because I'm worried about running into her again. I like that story.
That one is scary. It's always the stairwells, man. I don't know what it is. Well, I guess if you're familiar with architecture in Japan, especially older like mansion and apartment buildings, a lot of them, the staircases are outside. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they are scary to use. I don't know. They're always just dimly lit and dark. And I used to live on the 7th floor of an old mansion, so apartment building as well. It was built in the 70s, so it was just old. I've talked about it before. It looks very haunted. And same, I never used that stairwell. Not because I have ever encountered anything. It just creepy. Looks like a place I would rather not go. Yeah, they all look scary to me. So, okay. That is a scary story. Yeah. This is a famous one on 2chan, Ni-chan.
So I was searching for like 2chan horror stories. I wanted something not like a creepypasta, something more realistic that could be true, who knows, or it could be an urban legend.
And for people who are unfamiliar, me, what is 2chan in a nutshell? Just a blogging website? Yeah,
it's like a
post, like a Reddit of Japan?
Kind of like Reddit, yeah. Okay. Just anonymous threads about whatever. Yeah. But there are a lot of horror stories on there. Okay. Just like on Reddit with the No Sleep subreddit.
Okay. All right. Well, the next story, I will read Chapter 1. For reasons in which I can't recall, when I was very young, I used to live with my grandmother in a rural village located in the southern region of N Prefecture. The place where I used to live, despite the lack of communal options which made everyday necessary life activities such as grocery shopping laborious, was surrounded by beautiful, soothing nature, as acres of rice fields and farms spread across the landscape. But a few miles away from my grandmother's house, there was a road where car accidents happen on a frequent basis. The fact that accidents continuously occurred on that particular wide, well-managed, and well-lit road specifically during the nighttime always struck me as odd. The drivers who fortunately survived the car accidents would say how they saw 5 children blockading the road by holding each other's hands, which caused the drivers to sharply cut left or right in an attempt to dodge the children, hence leading them to crash. Now, my grandmother told me another story regarding the road when I was a child. I heard a story from my grandmother, who would be your great-great-grandmother, about that road. When your great-great-grandmother was still a child, there was a multiple homicide involving many children who got murdered on that exact road, and some of their corpses were found, but others not. My grandmother believes that the vengeful souls of the murdered children are still loitering on that road, still looking for the culprit. I shivered out of fear before my mother, who was also listening to her story, quickly intervened. "Stop it, mother, you're scaring him." However, my grandmother completely ignored her daughter's complaint and kept on. "Now, listen carefully when you turn old enough to drive a car and ever happen to come across the road. Don't you ever, and I mean ever, stop the car if you see those children standing in the middle of the road at night. Remember that," my grandmother concluded her story. Although I spent the days in that farmland living in fear thanks to the tale of horror that my grandmother told me, my parents and I ended up moving to Osaka, and alas, the memories of my childhood and the rural village slowly began to fade away as I started to get used to my new urban life. Today, I'm in my 30s, a husband and father of 2 children. As my children grew older, they began to show keen interest in outdoor activities, so during their summer vacations, I occasionally took them to see my grandmother back at the rural village where I originally came from. Despite her old age, my grandmother was still very healthy and vivacious, always excited to see her great-grandchildren coming for a sleepover. Then one late night, when I was driving through the village to see my grandmother with my family for the summer vacation after taking the highway from Osaka to my childhood village, as I cautiously looked around the dim ambience, I came upon a road indicating that my grandmother's house was not too far ahead. But what happened next, I will never forget for the rest of my life. As I drove through the road to my grandmother's house, dark, human-shaped silhouettes began to emerge in the distance. The silhouettes then manifested into children that looked to be 4 or 5 years old, and they held hands to form a blockade in the middle of the road as I fast approached. "Honey, stop the car," my wife warned, but before I stepped on the brake pedal, I remembered what my grandmother told me when I was a child, about the spirits of the dead children causing car accidents. That was when I stomped on the accelerator pedal instead and pushed right through the band of children in a state of frenzy. "What is wrong with you? Turn back immediately!" My mind panned back into reality as my wife bellowed out of terror. When I turned back to the spot where I should have run through the children, just as I expected, they were nowhere to be found. My own children were sound asleep as we finally arrived at my grandmother's house at last. But my wife and I, chilled to the bones in the middle of a hot, humid summer night, never rested after that surreal encounter. I pray to this day that those children would, one day, find peace and harmony as they depart to the other side.
That one's, I feel more sad than creepy.
Yeah, that one is really sad. I've probably mentioned it in every scary episode.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a really weak spot, I don't know, for ghosts about children, women, and like old people, sure, but yeah, kind of the women and children
Child
really
ghosts
get
are really
me.
sad, yeah.
They're really sad, but they're also really scary to me. I mean, because of media, like The Grudge and The Ring and everything like that. But that one, if I saw it, I know it would be super scary to me. But reading it and just knowing about their past was kind of really sad. Yeah. And they say from N prefecture, so Nagano, Nagasaki, Niigata. Just don't go over there. No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
The last long story that we have. This is the bonus story from the Philippines. So thank you again, Jay, for this one. 2013, Cebu City. It's called the Barefoot Child. This is by far the creepiest encounter I've ever had. I had just arrived in Cebu after booking a flight impulsively without any plans. All I wanted was just to be out of the house and force myself out of depression. I'd been rotting at home for 6 months at that point, so I figured it was time to get my life in order. So I flew to Cebu with just enough money for a week and an overnight bag. Because I was trying to be as frugal as I could, I booked a cheap hotel in Fuente. I booked a room for 3 nights, hoping that I'll have a job and a dorm I can stay in within that time frame. The hotel looked nice, though because it was inside a residential area, city planning doesn't exist, there were neighborhood kids playing just outside, and I even saw some of them in the lobby. I was guided to my room by a porter, and on our way up to the 2nd floor, 3 local kids were also on their way down. It was a group of 2 girls and a boy who looked to be around elementary school age. The 2 girls were chatting away, eating some junk food, but the smaller boy, bald and barefoot, was wearing house clothes, was quietly just staring at me until they went past. I can clearly still see his face to this day. I settled in my room, got a call from one of the schools I applied to, inviting me to an interview the next day. All was good. The rest of the day went by smoothly. I had some room service, prepared what I would wear the next day, and watched cable TV to while away the time. I went to bed around 10-ish. But in the middle of the night, I was woken up by what sounded like a child running up and down the lobby. Tiny footsteps echoing in the night. I figured it could be one of the other guests, so I just tried to go back to sleep. I was a little creeped out, but then I heard a soft, "Jay." Goosebumps. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I froze. More running outside the lobby. "Jay, where are you?" A little louder this time. Soft footsteps getting nearer. "Jay." I think I felt my soul detach from my body at that last scream of Jay. It was near my door, maybe just right outside. I couldn't scream. I wanted to, but I couldn't. All I could do was hold my phone, cross myself, I'm Catholic but not practicing, it's a habit, and pray to whoever was listening to make whatever it is go away. Thankfully, though, after that last shout of my name, I heard nothing more. No more footsteps, just silence. I did what anyone would do. Turned the TV back on, blasted it on full volume. Next door be damned. I turned on all the lights and hid under the blanket until I eventually passed out. The next day, I asked to check out immediately. Figured I could just stash my luggage somewhere while doing the interview. But I asked if there were any families with children booked on my floor because I was still holding on to hope that it was a real child who was out there looking for me somehow. The receptionist unfortunately told me that I was, in fact, the only guest for the week. Only guest. Holy crap.
Again, kids. Kid ghost. That's a scary kid ghost one. I don't like it. And they called you by name.
They knew your name.
They knew your name. No. I like when they were mentioning how they did the cross thing. They're not like a practicing Catholic or anything. They
it's just instinct.
Have you ever done that before? Maybe
No.
not the Catholic crossing, but just like I have. Because I was
praying?
so scared. Yeah. Because I'm not like really religious or anything like that. But yeah, there's been a couple of times where I've been so scared. I would just be like, hey, please.
There's anybody out
Yeah,
there?
there's anybody
It's
out
me,
there,
Cheyenne.
please. It's me. Can you hear me? But yeah, I'd be like, hey, I need your help or something. Which might sound a little, I don't know, selfish considering I don't really practice or anything like that. But yeah, there's been times where I also would just be like, leave. Like I would just shout into something like, leave. The power of me compels you. Be gone. Yeah. That is scary though. That one was really creepy with the running and the little footsteps. Again, kids,
Yeah.
I either have a really soft spot for them or they freak me out. So
If the ghost knew my name,
yeah. The name calling was the scariest part for sure.
where are you?
Where are you? And I always have to, again, reassure myself because kids, right? Kids are, I guess, innocent.
Maybe they wanted
right?
to play
They wanna
hide and seek
right?
or something.
There's always one. I've told this story before, but we kind of had a haunting with a family member's baby. They were like a toddler at the time. And there was a spirit kind of lurking in their nursery room as well. And lots of things happening. And we found out it was a baby, like another young kid who just wanted to play. And so all of the ruckus and stuff they're causing is probably, get attention and trying to play and stuff. Or who knows, maybe they're trying to take over my cousin's little toddler body. I don't know.
Maybe
but
it was just
scary.
a demon.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of scary. But yeah.
It was
Thank you for
spooky.
that submission, though. That was a good one.
Those were really good stories.
Mhm.
And I also liked the 2chan stories.
Yeah. What's the difference between 2chan and 4chan?
I thought 4chan was the English one.
Oh, is that what? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
4 channel, 2 channel.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't really
Go on those
lurk
websites.
on those.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, 2chan's good for finding scary stories.
Yeah, you found some great stories. Thank you. I am, again, going to sleep with one eye open tonight.
Yeah. If anybody else has more stories, we always welcome scary stories. It doesn't have to only be for Halloween.
That's
but
true. It is kind of fall, vibes, so they could be fun.
Just wanted to do at least one spooky themed Halloween episode. So, yeah, we got 2. Exciting.
Yay! I
so,
know.
just to, close it on a more funny-ish note, I wanted to talk about some lore.
Yes, that's right. I almost forgot about that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you know that candy called Milky?
Yes, and that's the one where the girl, she has a little tongue hanging out like that, right?
Yeah. She
Okay.
kind of is like the Wendy's girl. With, like,
because she has pigtails?
with like the pigtails.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she is called Peko Chan.
Mhm.
She's the mascot. She's got rosy little cheeks. Her tongue is sticking out. And the slogan for the candy is, like Mama no Aji?
Miruki wa mama no aji or something. Yeah.
Mom's taste.
Yeah.
Which,
What does that
I
mean?
I was going to say maybe mom's cooking, but then it's milky candy. So mom's milk.
Yeah, I'm thinking, as a
breast milk.
breastfeeding mother now, that's all I can think of is just breast milk. Yeah.
The breast milk candy.
Yeah.
That's the creepy look. No, just kidding.
Should I start? No, I'm kidding.
You want to make your Cheyenne no Aji?
Miruki wa Cheyenne no aji. Ew.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So there's an urban legend about Peko-chan that in the post-World War II era, a lot of families were experiencing food scarcity, and Peko-chan and her mother also did. And because the mom felt sorry that her daughter was so hungry, she cut off her own arm and fed it to her daughter so she would have something to eat. But Peko-chan loved the taste of human flesh so much that she just ate her mother entirely. So, mama no aji.
Yeah.
Could it be that?
Is that the milky part? Okay.
Yeah. And she's licking her lips because she's just thinking about the taste of blood.
I see.
She got the hunger.
She got that hunger. Oh, speaking of hunger, so I just clicked in my brain right now. So I don't know if this is part of the story or part of the lore, but pekopeko means hungry. Like onaka ga pekopeko. So if she's a peko-chan, what is her stomach? Just a bottomless pit or something? Craving that mama no aji. She's always hungry. I don't know. I've never heard of this. You said you heard it from a Japanese person before. So this lore is very popular or well known among Japanese people, I guess.
Yeah, I would guess maybe students tell each other that to scare it. But also, miruki, backwards, kirumi.
What? Sorry. Got distracted because Frankie's stomach just growled.
Kirumi!
What the
That's
hell?
what my stomach said.
Yeah.
It's lunchtime.
That is scary. I never put that
Actually,
together.
Give me your arm. I'm hungry.
Okay. Right now.
Yeah.
What?
Do you ever hear of that?
No, I've never heard any of that lore ever.
Okay.
But as a mother, if I
would you give your arm to your baby?
Yes, I would, I think. So, I don't know, the thought of, oh my God, her mother gave her arm to eat, but if I were also in a post-war famine, I would probably feed my child one way or another as well. It kind of makes sense to me why her mom did that. But I don't know. That is kind of some creepy funny. I don't want to call it funny, but kind of funny lore because
I don't think it's true.
Yeah,
so
of course
it could be funny.
If you're familiar with the logo, she's just so cute, and they're just milk candies, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And there's another character who's called Poko-chan, and apparently Peko-chan tried to eat his brains, and he's always wearing a little blue cap to cover his exposed skull because she ate his brains.
That's too much.
And his tongue is not sticking out because she ate it.
That's too much. But something to think about next time you eat those candies. Maybe we should go get some.
Let's go get that. Oh my God.
You okay, Peko? Peko?
I am Peko. And just one more quick little thing. So there is some dark lore about Hello Kitty.
I don't know anything about this one. I'm excited to hear.
Just very, very briefly. So there was a mother who had a sick child. This seems to be a theme, right? Mothers with starving or sick children.
Japan loves, moms and kids, I guess. All of the ghosts that exist are
ghost stories.
Just moms and kids suffering. Okay, so.
Yeah, so there was a mom whose daughter had cancer and, all the treatments that they were doing were not working. She, turned to the church as well, but all of her prayers were going unanswered. And then she turned to the devil.
Oh, okay.
And she made a pact with the devil that said if her daughter could get better, then she would create a character that would be loved by children around the world. So, if you like Hello Kitty, you're a Satanist.
You're a devil worshiper. What? That's such a random. I thought it was she made a pact with the devil, and so in order for her daughter to be cured, it was something your daughter will survive and her spirit will live on, but through this cat or something. Was kind of the idea I was going through, but you said. Please cure my daughter and I'll create an amazing business opportunity.
Yeah, so the mother she created Hello Kitty.
I don't understand what the devil wants with Hello Kitty, but okay.
The word kitty means demon in Chinese.
Oh?
So Hello Kitty really means hello demon. They say that anyone who buys Hello Kitty merchandise is welcoming the devil into their hearts.
Well, I guess I gotta get rid of a lot of stuff back home. YouTube! Burn it! Okay.
Okay.
That was a fun one.
That's all we got for this one. I really need to eat lunch.
Yes. We gotta feed Frankie before she eats my arm off and becomes the new face of Japanese milky candies. All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye. Here.